Do you hear that, Guardian? The souls burning in hellfire. They call for you. Hello, my lovely monsters. I am Fasa the Silver Chimera, and I've returned with a Solar Titan build. Let's get to it. Part 1, the weapon. We're using the exotic sword, the Lament. This comes with the exotic perk, Banshee's Wail. Hold down the block button to rev the blade. Increases damage and adds anti-barrier effects to all attacks. Gain stacks when dealing damage with revved attacks. Additional stacks increase the damage and damage resistance of heavy attacks. To sum it up quickly, hold the block button down, rev your engines, hack away until everything is dead. The other perk on this weapon is Revved Consumption. Damaging a combatant heals the wielders. So as you attack anything with a pulse, you get health back, which makes this sword great for survivability. And it can also crank out some pretty hefty damage. Part 2, the armor. We're using the exotic Loreley Splendor helm. I love this thing. It looks so cool. And I've been on record saying I don't really like people faces, but this is an exception. The glow is awesome, and you have flaming horn ear thingies. The shit's just dope. These come with the perk Carterizing Flame. When you are critically wounded with full class ability energy, or when you cast a barricade, create a sunspot at your location that has improved restoration effects. This perk comes in handy more often than you might think. And personally, it's saved my ass more times than I can count. But there is an interesting interaction coming up that kicks things up a notch. Part 3, class and mods. We're on the Sunbreaker, and I recommend the Rally Barricade for the shorter cooldown, Throwing Hammer because of course we are, and personally I like the Incendiary Grenade, but that's up to you. Throw whatever the hell you want at them. For our aspects, first up is Roaring Flames. Final blows with solar abilities or ignition increase the damage of your solar abilities. Stacks 3 times. So this is pretty cut and dry. Your abilities make your abilities stronger. But while Roaring Flames is active, your normal melee counts as a powered melee. This means it has new effects, like every punch can scorch a target. And it ties into that interaction that I was teasing earlier. Now hang tight, we're getting there. Our next aspect is Soul Invictus. Solar ability final blows, Hammer of Soul impacts, and defeating scorched targets creates sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly while standing in a sunspot. Sunspots apply scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering a sunspot applies restoration. Whew. And I give Warlock shit for doing too much. Anyway, sunspots do a lot, and with this build, we're going to be making them a lot. So enjoy the healing, the damage, and the ability energy. Moving to our fragments, first up is Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant, -10 to discipline. Radiant is the key to so much this season due to the artifact mods, so this just helps with getting it started or extending it. Next is Ember of Empyrean. Solar weapons or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you, -10 to resilience. We have both restoration and radiant going in this build, so it's nice to keep them up as long as possible. And it's fun to murder everything in front of you. See, it's all about synergy. Next is Ember of Ashes. You apply more scorch stats to targets. More scorch means more damage, and more damage is why we play, boys. Enough said. Finally, we have Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration. The fourth verse is the same as the first, right? With all this set up, we're primed to be an unkillable menace. But, like I've said before, I'm a greedy bitch, so let's just rip the knob off, shall we? For our artifact mods, we want all the solar mods. Kindling Trigger, Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants, so this lets Lament apply Scorch, which is pretty awesome. Flint Striker, rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows grant Radiant. Raise up Precision, while Radiant solar precision final blows cause combatants to ignite. And last but certainly not least, honestly I would call it the most important mod, Revitalizing Blast. Causing damage with a solar ability weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. Now this is where we start cooking. Because of this mod, our sunspots can debuff Thick Boys, which cranks up our damage. What's not to love? Lament already hits like a bus, but the fun thing is, you can make champions and bosses take 15% more damage, and if you get low on health, Loreley will spawn a sunspot right under you, giving you health, debuffing them, not to mention Lament also heals you. So play aggressively. You're literally too angry to die. As far as our armor mods go, on the head you want hands-on for super energy, heavy ammo finder for Lament because that thing chews through ammo like it does everything else, and a siphon mod of your choosing for orb generation. On our arms, you want heavy-handed for more orbs, impact induction for more grenade energy, and momentum transfer for more melee energy, just in case you throw your hammer into the void and can't get it back. You know what I mean, Titan main. On our chest, you want 1 charged up to increase our armor charges, loosened blade for Lament, and a reserve mod to give Lament more ammo. On our legs, you want 3, count 'em, 3 solar surge mods to make Lament hit as hard as possible. Of course, you can move things around. This is just my recommendation. Finally, on our class item, you want 2 time dilation mods to extend our buff from our surge mods, and either bomber or outreach for just a tad bit more energy. Stat-wise, I recommend focusing on resilience and discipline. I say these so that way you can get your barricade back ASAP and you can throw more grenades, which helps debuff things and makes more sunspots. This build lets you jump into a group of enemies and cut them down. When Radiant is procced, you fill the room with sunspots, set everything ablaze. Champions pose no threat because Lament does so much goddamn damage and it keeps you alive. But now we gotta talk about the most important part of any Destiny build. Part 4. The fashion. This is the outfit I came up with and I am in love. I use the night vision shader because it gives Loreley this green glow. So I decided to use the Nemean chest plate to give the eyes the same pretty emerald green. Then I used the Fenrir's Bane arms to continue with this night aesthetic I found myself in. And then I wrapped it all up with the Stolcis legs and the Radiant Breaker mark to match the fire on the helmet. And I like it. It just flows together. It's like he's caked in the ash of his enemies. Imagine a Titan descending into the Hellmouth and cutting off entire branches of Crota's family tree. It's pretty hot. Kind of like the build if you think about it. Henceforth, the build will be known as Wails of the Damned, because as you drag your blade through those foolish enough to stand against you, as you rend flesh from bone with your seething blade, know that you send their souls kicking and screaming into the lake of fire. May they forever burn in hell. So that's the build. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like it? Do you like the outfit? Did I miss something, or do you have adjustments that you recommend? I'm all ears. Talk to me. If you don't know what to comment, how about Hellfire? That seems appropriate. Let me say hi to all the new subscribers. Welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. If you want more of my builds, there's a playlist right here, and there's more on the way. If you are a fan of the lore of Destiny, I've done some readings of various lore books. Check those out if you want. And that's about it for this episode, so I gotta head out and work on more stuff. If you could do me a favor, could you just punch the subscribe button in the prostate? That would be great. I am Fasa the Silver Chimera. Thank you for sharing your time with me. It's an honor and a privilege. And I will see all of you beautiful monsters next time.